All right, so what is the difference between VCAs and subgroups? Um, if you're new to this stuff, this is a question that I've been asked, and I'll just explain it. It's very straightforward, and it's very easy to comprehend. We'll start with VCAs. VCAs are, what was the official terminology for this? Voltage control something? I don't know. I forgot what it is. But there was a sort of a, I want to say, complex explanation around how these work in relation to DCAs and in relation to individual channels, but I'll let you go and do the research on that. Essentially, with your VCAs, the principle is the same when you link channels to subgroups and you link channels to VCAs. The principle remains the same in the sense that you're taking a group of channels and you're linking them to an individual or, in the case of subgroups, a linked stereo pair. And with your VCAs, once you've linked multiple channels to a VCA, you have a situation where you can control the overall volume of that channel from the actual VCA itself. So one thing you'll notice is all the subgroups will come and the faders will be down, but with the VCAs, the faders will be up. And the reason why they do that and they set them to unity gain is so that when you link them, the channel to the VCA, it doesn't stop you from receiving volume. It's meant to be seamless. So I can be in channel 4. And there's multiple ways to do this, but I can link channel 4. I can link channel 5. And I can link channel 6 to VCA 1. And all of a sudden, whatever's playing on channel 4, 5, and 6 will automatically be affected when I change this fader. And a way in which you can tell is this. So can you see that? Underneath, there's a shadow. You won't see that shadow on 7 because 4, 5, and 6 are linked to that VCA. And what I did is I turned the VCA down. Now I'm going to turn the VCA up. And you'll see that the shadow has moved ahead. And what the shadow is telling you is the position of the actual VCA in relation to the position of your fader. So your VCA is running hotter than your actual fader. That information is helpful in the sense that if you wanted to create a good little balance, what you could do is you would know where you have your headroom and where you need to turn something down. So you could bring your VCA channel down if you have more headroom on your actual fader channel, and then you can turn your fader channel up, okay? And then once you've done that, you know now that if I need to add any more volume to those 3, I can do it from here. I've got plenty of headroom there. Or if I needed to touch any one of these down individually, I can do that as well. But that's your VCAs in a nutshell. It's essentially just one fader that controls a group of channels, and you've got 6 of them built in. With your subgroups, it's a similar thing in the sense that you can we'll go into the same channels. In fact, let's go into channels 7, 8, and 9. Seven, 8, and 9. And now what you're supposed to do is take them out of the mains. Right, okay. 7, 8, and 9. Now the first thing you'll notice is there is no shadow. That is the difference, one of the differences between VCAs and subgroups. Now, if you look at these channels here, you see that green, green, green? This green is the same color as the VCA. And it's just there to show you that it is actually linked to a VCA. So you'll see that color. And if you change the color of the VCA, you'll see that the color here, VCA 1 will also change to whatever the color of the VCA is. So that's pretty cool what Mackie have done there. And the same thing will happen with subgroups. Now, one of the differences, major differences between subgroups and VCAs is VCAs have no additional processing on them, whereas subgroups do. And subgroups will come with the faders down, so you'll have to lift those faders to where you want them to be. In this case, I want them to be a stereo link. So it stereo links the two, and then I have one fader to control, and the remaining subs are there. But I can come into here and I can EQ the overall. I can EQ the overall subgroup. Okay. There'll be an RTA which lets me see the audio from those three channels combined together. And then I've got my 4-band EQ. You can also switch between modern and vintage. And then you can also save, store, and use presets. Then here, whilst in subgroup 1 and 2, you'll see that it's being assigned to the main left and right. So if this is gray within master fader, it means it's going to the main left and right. If it's not gray, it means it's just staying at the subgroup. It's not going anywhere else. So you'll need to make that gray to ensure that that goes to the main left and right. So all those channels feed into the subgroups. The subgroup then feeds into the main left and right. Okay. If you wanted to see the physical channels that are assigned and you wanted to assign more, you can do so from here by going to channel. And then you've got groups as well. Okay. One thing you can also do is you can assign more than just channels into this subgroup. You can select multiple items that you want to assign to the subgroup as well. So it doesn't just receive channels, it can also receive VCAs as well before sending those out to the main. And then finally you've got a compressor. Again, you can switch between vintage and modern. You've got presets over here where you can store, save, and you can turn the compressor on and off. And then you've got the controls for the compressor limiter. And then you're back to your EQ. So you've got multiple options with your subgroup. You can use these features within the actual groups themselves to manipulate the subgroup in addition to the features you have on the individual channels that are assigned. You can also change colors as well, so we'll demonstrate that. What should we pick? Pink? What did we choose here? Oh yeah, it was these ones here. So subgroup 1 is pink. What did we say? 7, 8, and 9, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there we go. So we've picked subgroup 1 and 2 as pink. Let's have a look to see why it only changed the color for one and left blue, the other one blue. Oh yeah, they're both pink. Earlier on this was blue. But yeah, they're both pink. And the color follows, which is pretty cool. The color will also follow here as well. So you'll see these are pink, and that's like an orangish yellow. So that follows through as well. So with your subgroup, you have more options. You can say send drums and then compress them there. And you can add extra things and compress them there. You've got more options within the actual subgroups themselves. Whereas with VCAs, you're just controlling the volumes. So you have to just bear that in mind as to what you'd be doing with the individual items. Then, one last thing you'd want is when you go into here, there you go, you'll be able to see that we removed 7, 8, and 9 from coming directly to the main. So if I was to plug something in and mute the subgroup, nothing will come out here. Or if I was to take them, unassign the subgroup from the main, no volume would come out here. And this will show us that. Remember, I told you if it's gray, it's going to the main left and right. And then you've got a compressor, you've got an RTA, and EQ. That's it. All right, thank you.